The Israeli military sends a message to those living in parts of Rafah to evacuate immediately. And Boeing looks to have a successful launch of its manned spacecraft after years of setbacks. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Monday, May 6th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Taylor. Developing this morning, the Israeli military has issued a call for people living in sections of the Gaza town of Rafah to evacuate immediately as Israel prepares to strike the border city as part of its mission to target Hamas terrorists. A spokesperson with the Israeli Defense Forces telling those in the eastern region of Rafah to evacuate to an expanded humanitarian area. A Hamas official telling Reuters the evacuation order is a dangerous escalation that will have consequences. Aid agencies, as well as allies like the U.S., have spoken out against Israel carrying out an operation in Rafah, where more than 1 million displaced Palestinians have relocated during the war. Israeli officials saying the evacuation is temporary and impacts around 100,000 people. The IDF saying calls to move will be conveyed through flyers, texts, phone calls, and media broadcast. The evacuation alert is coming a day after the Israeli defense minister told troops inside Gaza to expect intense action in Rafah in the near future. On Sunday, the IDF said 10 rockets struck a border crossing used for humanitarian trucks in an attack claimed by Hamas. 3 IDF soldiers were killed. Israel shut down the crossing after the attack, and it remains closed this morning. Also on Sunday, Israel announced it was shutting down the Al Jazeera news network in the country, citing a threat to national security. Al Jazeera calling the move a criminal act. And today, as talks concerning a ceasefire in Gaza continue, President Biden will host Jordan's King Abdullah II for a private meeting at the White House. 3 bodies found in Mexico have been identified as those of a missing American tourist and 2 Australian brothers. The FBI confirmed the 3 bodies were found on Friday in a well in the Mexican state of Baja California, about an hour and a half south of the U.S.-Mexico border. Mexican authorities released more information Sunday night, saying the families of American Jack Carter Road and Australians Calum and Jake Robinson were able to identify their loved ones. The 3 friends were on a surfing trip when they disappeared last week. Mexican officials said all 3 were found with a gunshot wound to the head after an alleged carjacking incident. Authorities say 3 suspects have been arrested. A 4th body was also located with the 3 others, but officials say the yet-to-be-identified victim is not related to this case. The U.S. State Department says it's closely monitoring the situation. The department currently has a travel advisory for the Baja California region, advising tourists to reconsider travel due to crime and kidnapping. 1 child was killed over the weekend in Texas as severe flooding continues to impact the state. Officials in Johnson County said the child and 2 adults were trapped in their car early Sunday morning due to fast-moving floodwaters. The child was swept away as the 3 tried to make it to dry land. The adults were rescued and taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, the Houston region has experienced continuous heavy rainfall, prompting forecasters to extend flood watches. Rescue crews have saved hundreds from rising floodwaters in the area. The National Weather Service recorded up to 23 inches of rain in some areas over the last week. After a tumultuous 3 years at the helm of ABC News, its president, Kim Godwin, is stepping down from her role. In a message to staff on Sunday night, Godwin wrote she's retiring from the news business. Godwin was recruited back in 2021 from CBS News to take over at ABC as the first Black woman to lead a network news division. After her hiring, reports started surfacing of employees being critical of Godwin's management style. Earlier this year, Disney, the parent company of ABC, installed executive Deborah O'Connell to oversee Godwin and the news division. In a memo, O'Connell told staff that she will now step into Godwin's role for the time being. Boeing is set to launch its first manned Starliner mission to the International Space Station tonight after a decade of delays and mechanical challenges. This crewed flight test aims to validate the spacecraft's capabilities as a competitor to SpaceX for regular trips to the ISS under NASA's Commercial Crew Program. Boeing has faced a series of setbacks with Starliner, including a failed uncrewed test flight in 2019 due to software issues and challenges with the vehicle's parachute system. Despite the hurdles, NASA has expressed confidence in the spacecraft's improvements and Boeing's commitment to safety. The mission features 2 veteran astronauts on a week-long test flight. The launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida is set for 10:34 p.m. And finally this morning, it was a wild weekend in the world of sports that saw not 1, but 2 photo finishes. The first close call took place at Saturday's Kentucky Derby, with Mystic Dan prevailing by a nose over Sierra Leone and Forever Young. The photo finish at Churchill Downs was the 26th time the Derby was decided by the length of a neck or less. Then a little over 24 hours later, NASCAR saw its closest finish in Cup Series history, with Kyle Larson beating Chris Buescher at Kansas Speedway, being declared the winner by a thousandth of a second. It was so close that Buescher was initially named the winner, but after further review, Larson was announced the victor, earning his second win of the 2024 season. And according to The Athletic, the same camera technology was used to determine the winner in both photo finishes. These are your top stories for this Monday. You can get the latest unbiased straight facts anytime by downloading the Straight Arrow News mobile app. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Lauren Taylor. Have a great day.